And again, I'll be sending this. Andrea, I'll make sure I get this out at least by Monday to you. It'll be more timely. I
Sounds good.
apologize. You're like, hey, where's the link? I'm like, oh man, again.
No, it's okay. No worries. Thank you for doing that.
No, I appreciate you all. So, all right. I'm gonna pause my camera for now, but I'll be back on video, of course, on and off. And let me go back to sharing my screen here. Again, all the resources, as always, I will share with you all after the session. If there's anything else ever, again, that you think of that, maybe of use of benefit and that you've kind of vetted the help centers that we have and stuff like that, by all means, please feel free. Never bother. It's always great to hear from you ladies. Reach on out to me. And I'll put, just again, for good measure, my contact information. There's my email and I remember my work cell number is my work number is a cell, so feel free to call or text as well. So, okay. So based upon what we went over last time that we met early in October, again, can't believe it's 15th of November already. I took some of just the kind of follow-ups from that to do some recaps, but also a couple new questions that came up. As always, this is your time. Today, ask questions, anything that you want to dive deeper into, please feel free. Just say, hey, Jen, can we go back over this? Or can we take a look at that? Or when I was in the ILVP, I saw XYZ and was wondering, whatever the case may be. So this is agenda kind of slash objectives today. So we're going to talk about, and they're in essentially no particular order. um, but we're going to talk about, again, how you can customize and utilize that current enrollments report in the ILVP. I keep going back to this because, again, it is really a super easy one-stop shop in terms of that bird's eye view of how the students are doing. You can have the LMS link column where you can get, right over to the student's progress report in the Imagine LMS, the Imagine Edgenuity LMS, the classroom program. So, and then just a couple other, again, kind of tips and tricks I've picked up along the way, always learning myself, even within the last month and a half, that I wanted to share. We're going to talk again about the ILVP, the Imagine Learning Virtual Portal Communication Tool. So messages area, how you can take a look at the student, teacher communication, good stuff with that. Talk about the email templates. Again, I know we had chatted about that last time. And then kind of some of the questions that came up in between our last time together, our last PD session, looking at historical data from your different roles for the student. Again, because the data never goes away. It is always there. As long as you have an active account in good standing, you can get to that. So I'll show you a little bit in terms of that area, or those areas, I should say. And then show you as well where the guided notes are that you can utilize, and also talk a bit about the on-demand tutoring that is available in the classroom program for your students. So, okay. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward. So again, I kind of got all these, really the last two, especially the LMS one, we'll kind of save for the end. So we'll stay mostly in the ILVP first, as usual, because that's what you tend to use more, and then getting into the classroom program. But again, any, like I said, questions, thoughts? Oh, no worries, Brittany. It is all good. It is all good.
I'm clicking the link and it's like inactive host and I'm like, well, it's 9:42. I've been trying since 9:30. And then somebody texted me, but I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
no, please don't be sorry. It is Friday and we have survived another week this school year. So it is all good. There, Brittany, is I have a little registration link. If you don't mind filling that out, that'd be great. So today's date, my name, Jen Golier, and then it's 6 through 12 IS systems is the topic. And then web, obviously. So thank you. Okay, so the reason why I put this slide up here, I know you all have a good understanding of of the different layers of support that we provide with our Imagine School Services, so our teachers of record. Um, but really, I wanted to focus first on the on-demand tutors. Um, so again, our on-demand tutors here, and I'll go to the next slide here. And I also have, let me just make a note real quick in my list. In my follow-up, I will send the actual flyer that we have that, again, feel free, you can share out with students and families alike about our on-demand tutors. Definitely more detailed than what I have here. But they are subject matter experts. So if you're wondering, or parents or students are wondering, like, who are these tutors? They are not artificial intelligence. They are real live educators. Some of the educators are retirees that have come back for, a little side gig. Some are college students that are in the education profession. They're on track to become one of our tribe. um but regardless, we do look to partner and have tutors again that are, they specialize in the various different core courses, and then also Spanish and French. So for example, student needing help in math would not get me because I am social studies background, so couldn't help them well, at least. But they are available 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then they have weekend hours, so all local time. So this would be all Eastern time for us. What their primary purpose is to help the students in terms of, reviewing any work. If they're stuck on a particular concept, they need a little remediation and guidance. So really, like, think of, traditional tutor traits, working with the student to support what is going on in the classroom. So they are not in the business of providing answers or anything like that. They don't, number one, have access to that from their access, but, ethically and morally, they would not do that. The chat with tutor button, and when we go live into the LMS in a little bit, I will show you again. That's going to be this guy in the right under the little hours table here. That's exactly what the button looks like in the classroom program, and the students can access that from any portion of the lesson itself. So again, here essentially is what it looks like. Here's just a screenshot in terms of, there's the chat with tutor button. And then what it does, ooh, this is an old, we used to have it when they first logged in, it said this. And I actually was the one, I was like, that's not a good approach. I apologize for that. It's going to pop open with Go Peer. That's the extension that will pop open for them in a new window. And then again, they will identify the system will identify them with their grade level, so middle school, high school, and then what subject they are in. And then they will be put into the queue to be matched up with a tutor that can assist them in that grade level subject area. So also, I don't have it here, but let me go back. Our tutors, and this is something newer that I have just found out recently. Um, for those that are ELL learners, they can ask the tutor that they're paired up with if there is someone, again, mostly predominantly, we have tutors for Spanish and French, but they can ask if there are any other tutors, or if they could be connected with a tutor that could speak, perhaps in their native language with them. So that is something new, or to my knowledge. It's been going on for a little while, so they can request that. And if they also have, the students have found that they really, jive well with a specific tutor, when they're put in the queue, and then, matched up with the tutor, just based upon grade level and subject, they can actually request, like, hey, I really like working with a tutor Jen. Can you go ahead and is she available right now? Yes, I do too, Kim. I was so excited to hear that. That question had come up again in between our previous session and now. And I thought that was great because I'm like, man, we could really, I think eventually from what I've heard is, we are seeking more, number one, tutors that are bilingual at least, to have that option available for the students. But again, and the students shouldn't feel bad. Our tutors are not going to take offense, or homage to, hey, I really like working with tutor Kim. Can you, is she available right now? That's again, that is purely fine. And I think that's great because again, that's that, that teacher to student tutor relationship building that they feel comfortable. And I think that's great. So but like I said, I'll be sharing the flyer out along with the screenshots, sorry, along with the PowerPoint here. So please feel free to share, with your students. But I wanted to pause and see if anyone had any questions in terms of our tutors and what they do. So, okay, awesome. And for you ladies to know as well, this could be, if you are curious as to which students, the frequency, any data for students that utilize our tutors, please feel free. You can ask, me and I can put in that request I can get with Amy about that. But that is actually a data report that we can reach out to our tutor team to have run. So just FYI, if you're ever curious.
Is there a way for us to pull that on our own, or we would have to reach out?
Right. No, you have to reach out for that because
Okay.
they are, they're technically, I forget the name of, like I said, it's Go Peer, but they have to pull through like that platform. So,
Okay.
but yeah,
Okay, that's
if
good
you,
to know, though.
you're curious and just say, if that's maybe even on a cadence that you guys would like that, like say monthly, like, hey, we'd like to know in October,
Yeah.
what was
Okay.
the usage, happy to do that for you guys.
Yeah, that would be awesome, actually.
Okay, all right, I'll put that on my list and at least get you, we'll say,
Or even, I mean, quarterly or monthly, either one.
okay, quarterly or monthly. Okay, cool.
Thanks.
Great, you're welcome. Yeah, I wish that was something that, again, as of now, you guys can't pull it on your own yet. I can't even pull it. Like I said, I have to reach out for that, but it's not a big deal. They have offered, so I was like, yes. The tutor usage report. Okay, awesome. All right, fantastic. All right, so moving on here. All right, so again, kind of going over mentor role, also a little bit of the program lead in terms of some of the functionalities that, a lot of, again, what you can do in that mentor role is also naturally part of that program lead role. Program lead, you are the Wizard of Oz powers. So we'll go over a little bit again what we touched on last month, and then also talk about some tips and tricks for student success. So just as a reminder, so mentor, and again, virtually being mentors, that just adds another layer of challenge. And as an online teacher, myself in a previous role, actually having students online, I know it's quite difficult when everyone's virtual. So kudos to you all for the relationship that you have built with your students. And, clearly that is reflective in how well your students are doing. So again, positive expectations, technology proficient, and willing to, with that second one kind of, again, a little giggle, but, I think the one thing constant in online and really the world is change. So being open to when new technologies come your way. Clearly, I see that trait in all of you, as well as being an effective communicator and having a plan for managing the virtual world. I love it when I love working with all the schools and districts I do, but especially with schools and districts, virtually like you all, that really understand that it is a different, it is a different world when you're teaching online, when you are supporting students online. Um, and I applaud you guys again for that. So, okay. So the first thing I wanted to show you also, just a little bit, I'm going to go, let's see if I need to go back and forth. Not just yet, but I will. I'm going to show you how to edit your picture. I know that came up last time. You might have already discovered that, but we'll talk about that. So whatever fun little mentor picture that you would like to put. So that would be from your mentor account. So if you just have a program lead, unfortunately, there's no picture there. The reason being is only those that the students, only roles in the ILVP that a student would essentially be connected with, such as a mentor, or, for example, one of our teachers of record have that capability to change, to have a picture there, because the students see mentor information, that's you ladies, and then course information, that's going to be where our teachers are. So we'll go over that in just a moment. And then again, taking a look at the ILVP data. So using that current enrollments report, I know when you all are with us, and when I say you all, schools and districts are with us using our teachers of record, really the ILVP is, where it's at. I know that you have LMS access too, which is great for those more granular details. But again, this is not, the data in here is not to be overlooked. It might not be exactly, it'd be a lovely combination to have, granular and high level overview in the ILVP. But maybe one day. And then something too we'll touch on. So these are just kind of highlight points, and then we'll go live. But again, making sure that the student information is up to date for our teachers of record, so they know who to reach out for. So that's why, again, mentor information, and then as long as it is permissible by, and the parents and guardians want that you also help them set up a parent guardian account as well, and having every student associated with a mentor. So again, our teachers know whom to reach out to. And we'll talk again, the edit information area of the student page for that. So like I said, I know for you a lot of review, but just want to, maybe something that hasn't been thought of recently, just to check. I know it's a lot of the back end, hey, going in, spending time, kind of, we call it account cleanup. But so, and then guardian view, like I said, really the, benefits of having parent guardian accounts. Each student account can have up to 7, just as a reminder, is they see essentially a mirror image of the student's main office, the ILVP, and they have the 2 messaging areas as well. So they get to see the student's inbox and also their own itself. So, and then we're again going to talk a little bit about communications, and reminders of where that booking link is if any of your students want one-on-one, or you encourage one-on-one synchronous sessions with our teachers. So, and phone number too, like I said, that's always that's very situational. Some, students accounts will have the student number depending upon their age, parent or guardian, or none at all. That's something, if you ever run across a student, or maybe you have that already, or have one presently that has a little bit of anxiety, or doesn't respond well to an overwhelming amount of communication, which our teachers are sometimes a little over communicative, which isn't a bad thing, but for students that may have social emotional anxiety, in their core, it's too much for them, please let our teachers know. Again, they will not take offense. Students can be put on what we call RCO. That's responsive communication only. I'll put that in the chat. So RCO is responsive communication only. So this means, so our teachers would only engage via the ILVP messaging area when reached out to. So again, that it comes up in our teacher's performance indicator column on their current enrollments report. But that again alerts our teacher to know that, hey, there's no outgoing communication unless the student reaches out to them first, then they would respond to them. Hence RCO. So, okay. And then we are going to talk about guided notes. So I'm going to stop right there, but just wanted to show you, have kind of an overview of all this. We'll come back a little bit, but all these high points here are in our PowerPoint. So yes, well, Jen, yes and no. Like if it was, you could, again, personally reach out to the teacher or teachers if the student had multiple courses and say, hey, in terms of check-in emails with the students or messages, or they're behind pace emails, like I'm thinking of the typical cadence ones they send out, like a absent from class, lack of attendance. You could say, hey, with those, no thank you, but would you still please kindly send the progress report. Or you could even ask, because our teachers could include, and they may already, and you may already know this, but they can include you in on, as far as the mentor role, they can include you in on that, but not copy the student. So that is fine too. It's just, reaching out to them, with that request. Like I said, all of their information you can find in the, current enrollments report. I'm going to show you again how to add those columns in there for teacher email as well. And you can find it by logging in as a student too. So
I have a quick question, Jen.
yeah, sure. Andrea, go ahead.
It's along the lines of what Jennifer's asking.
Sure.
Would that, if we turn on the RCO for a student, would that, if we have a weekly automated progress report that goes out,
Oh, okay.
would that still go out to that student if that setting is turned on?
Good question. I will check on that. My initial gut tells me that the automated shouldn't be an issue, because it's not, RCO doesn't essentially lock down the system from sending anything. It just alerts our teachers like, hey, don't send anything to the
Gotcha. Okay.
student.
So
Yeah.
so the progress report would likely still go out to that student.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah.
So. Okay, great. Well, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my ILVP site. Just 1 second. Here. Sorry, I was turning a notification off as well. Okay. All right, so in the ILVP, I am in my mentor tab here. Again, this is my demo account, so forgive all the negative data here. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to show you, kind of going down my little list here, is for those of you that would like to add a picture so your students can see, again, your smiling face in here, our teachers can see you too. You would go, again, if you have dual, or perhaps some of you even have 3 roles in the ILVP. This is only available, again, under the mentor role here. It's mentor or teacher. So mentors, and then you're going to click on yourself here. So if you never investigated this area, this is another way that you can edit your information. So when we click on, again, mentor, you click on yourself and then edit information here, and then edit picture right here. So super easy to do when it comes up. Of course, had anticlimactic. I don't know why, other than this always happens when I'm training. However, you will be able to edit your, there we go, my impatience here. So if I choose file here, let's get a fun one right here. Let me go to, well, let's do, there we go. I won't put my dad and then upload. I'll put, that's right. If it is too big, it's going to fight you a little bit on it. But a long story short, this is where you can upload your picture. So it's not the muted Albert Einstein picture anymore. So again, mentors, edit information, and edit picture. This is also, again, if you had wanted to change anything, the only thing you always still cannot change, this goes for you all from your admin mentor accounts, also from students, is the username. So feel free to reach on out. I'm happy to submit a help ticket if you need help with that. Now, also here, if you had wanted to, again, as our teachers, they will add bio, hours, signature. That's because they're required to do that. You all are not. If you are using the internal messaging system in here, again, I do suggest you include a signature line. And if you had wanted to use these two areas, you don't have to necessarily use them for said topics here, bio or hours. You are more than welcome to do that. So. Okay, any questions in terms of how to add a picture to your mentor account? Excellent, super easy. It's just, like anything in the ILVP, it is pretty straightforward, but just where do you find it? All right, so we're going to go over to students, and to get, actually, I can stay in my mentor role here. Because I do have my one decent demo student here, MJ. So just a little bit again in terms of editing a student account, and also too, if you wanted to add any notes, and like I said, a lot of the, you ladies may already know this, but good to remind and go over for review here. So in the students tab, this is where you will see your list of active students, again, either associated to you as a mentor or as a program lead. You see all the active accounts, regardless if they have enrollments or not as well. You can see my other demo does not have any enrollments, but again, still affiliated to me, hence why I see them. So as long as you see the student's name hyperlinked, you can get right into their account. You can also use the find a student area as well. Sometimes that makes it a little bit more easy, a few less clicks there. So, okay. Now, this little sticky note here, I was just thinking as we were kind of talking about the different, outreach from our teachers. If you had wanted our teachers to see, any requests or pertinent information right away, you can use the student sticky note area. You may see this in some of the accounts where, for example, if you have a student on an IEP of 504 ELL or gifted plan, our special education team will make notes on here too, but feel free. Does not mean just because someone else is noted on here is that you cannot add it. So under edit information here, a couple things we'll talk about. So this notes area here, so for example, please only respond to student communication. Please do not reach out directly to student. Just make, include mentor on all communication, something like that. And then I always like to put my initials and then the date that I'm making a note right there. So this will then pop up on that sticky note. So again, anyone who accesses the account, so you all, us on our side, our teachers, our principals, etc., would see that. So that is a very helpful way. Again, if you have a unique situation, you just want to point something out real quick or bring it to our teachers' attention, feel free. Naturally, you can reach out to them, via email or text or call as well. But that's a nice little handy note. The students and parents, again, do not see the depth of, a student account. We know that there's only a few things that you see exactly that they see vice versa, which are the snapshot and their activity. So any of this in here, again, is all housed, securely internally for our eyes only here. If you had wanted, some schools and districts will upload student pictures too. Handful though, which understandably, student privacy and things like that. But if the student has a burning desire to have their picture, parents are okay. You can actually add that too from their edit information. But again, per our earlier conversation about RCO, responsive communication only. That's the notes area is a good area for that as well. So let me go ahead and hit save. Just kind of thinking of, and then as well here, you can see my demo student right now doesn't have a Guardian account affiliated with them. Just to make note, when you ladies are creating student accounts, and I think actually you have an integration if I remember. But regardless, if you are doing this manually and initially creating an account in the ILVP, when you enter Guardian information as you're creating a student account, their account is automatically created. When you go back after the account is created, that's when you would use either the Guardian account area or, again, parents and guardians can create via their students. So I'm going to go there in a second, but just wanted to show you here. So now here are my notes that I've updated. And like I said, this will come up every time, whoever has access minus the student and parent naturally will see these notes. Okay, so that's again under edit information here. Guardian accounts, as I mentioned here, disappeared. I added one after the fact, that's why. So you can always, if parents or guardians are having issues getting in, reset password. Although again, on the ILVP homepage, that is there for them. They can, and anyone can do that reset password. Just as a reminder, I always like to point that out because it is very tiny and easily overlooked down here. So as long as they know what email account is affiliated with them, this goes for students as well. It'll regenerate that username, password, email.
Our students do log in through Clever.
Clever. Okay. I thought you
Yeah, so-
guys had Clever with that.
Yeah, they probably can't do that, but the parents should be able to use that still.
Do that. Okay, good. Yeah, the parents should be, not the students. That's right.
Yeah.
I thought you guys had. I was leaning towards yes, you had, jogging my memory.
It's hard to remember all the things, no worries.
No, thank you for grace as always, Andrea and friends. Okay. So moving down the line, I know historic data was on our agenda. And in terms of that, really, we'll look at this first from the individual student account, and then we'll go to how you can look at it as a group, historic data and what is available, kind of like the current enrollments area too, looking at it individually and then also as a group. So I'm sure you all have kind of picked up on the theme of there's a lot of individual actions, but then also subsequent group actions too. Okay, so underneath enrollments here, when you're in an individual student account and you click on enrollment history. So again, I am in the mentor account program leads. Again, you can do all of this as well. It is going to show here the defaults for the criteria are going to be last 6 months, and the status when it is not active, that means that current enrollment. It does not mean that the student is not active. It means that the enrollment is not active. Hence, we are looking at historic data. So here, at least in the criteria, you cannot filter specific dates. These are the selections that you have. So if I went back last year, you can see here's for my demo student and their course status. Now you do have, just like the current enrollment reports here, you do have the ability to customize So there's 29 columns here. These are, it gives you, like, you should have the default as I do here. Now also with these columns, again, it's going to be the same choices for any column here, so you can reorder, and they are a little bit, air quote, limited, you know, compared to the current enrollments report that you have 40 columns and, you know, a vast amount of data from the ILVP. So, but you may want to order them in a way that makes more sense to you when you're looking at an individual student's current enrollments. And you can do that again by, we're in that individual student account enrollment history here. And like I said, here's the initial criteria and customized columns over here. So what it does show you, it's going to show you credits earned. So obviously school here is the school site in the ILVP, the course itself, credits earned, credits attempted here, start date, end date. Exit date is the date that their course status changed, whether they were completed, incompleted, withdrawn, failed, withdrawn, passed. Again, really with our teachers, there are 3 that we use. It's going to be drop grace, if they are dropped, you know, by your request, or if you perform that action within their grace period, or complete selected, if they have met that completion criteria, or incomplete. So, and then it'll have the actual grade is here. I know overall grade, so assignments, weeks here, weeks in the course, which is, you know, always our 18-week course semester, the teacher, district. Now, here's where I mentioned, like, you may want to move some of the columns or reorder them if it makes more sense. If not, you know, you're fine. You can leave it as is here. But this is pretty much the data that you can pull in terms of historic enrollments. You can export, I'm sorry, you can, I thought you could export here for that. Just check on that. Usually with all our data columns, they can be exported as an Excel. Now for optional filters here, I'm not sure if it's going to pull that. If I leave this, I got to play around with this for a second, ladies, but I'm going to go with, let's see. Let me do start date. So there are limited optional filters here, but start date, I'm just going to take a look and pick a date that I don't see to see is after, let's do, there we go. It's funny, that's not showing exactly what I wanted. Trying to find one after, and it's pulling up 22, not 24. That shouldn't be. I was gonna say, for the optional filters, you may be able to. Might actually got me what I wanted. Should be able to go back further. So then just the search criteria here, if needed. That's what I was trying to do. And it actually pulled up, there we go, 10 enrollments. And even if you just, I think too, you take off the specifics here, it should give you everything is what I'm looking for here, which does show my 22 there as well. So even though you cannot filter essentially a certain, like, let me look at enrollments from this date to this date, kind of like when you're looking at the student activity, you can pull down some of the different optional filters. Now, if you are using optional filters, I will say, and caution, it gets a little particular here, the ILVP. So when you are using the is, like the real specific filters here. So I'm going to pick a random date that is not one of these. and see, hopefully this is going to play nicely here to show you what I'm hoping it does. There we go. Okay. So because the end date is, if I'm looking specifically for that end date, sometimes the system it hiccups a little bit. It's not going to show everything. And it'll keep, you may be like, wait a minute, I know I have students, but it comes down to like the more filters you add, the more picky it's going to get. So if you are going to use the filters, just kind of keep it, I would say, general, or use the after or before, more or less than, depending upon that initial filter that you're looking at here. So sometimes you play around with this, but again, long story short, the data is and always will be there. So so that's the students area, and again, enrollment history. Now, in essence, from this is the individual enrollment history here. When you are wanting to take a look at this as a group. So again, in the mentor role, you can go to your schools tab here. You will have your school site highlighted here. And then under that, current enrollments here. I'm sorry, historic, getting ahead of myself. We're going to go to current enrollments next. Enrollment history here. So again, if I wanted to clear it all off, I could start here. Again, I have only my one student, MJ, listed right now. If I went to my program lead, I'm really going to see everybody. But as far as mentors, you will only see students that you're associated to, and their data subsequently that you have access, you're tied to their account. So if I went to here, I'll show you real quick. I'm just going to switch to my program lead role. And again, program leads, it looks a little bit different, but still under schools tab. Click on the school site itself and then enrollment history. And then again, like I said, it always defaults to the last 6 months, but I have 54 historic enrollments in here. And as always, you can search, column headers. I went last year, gonna see I have 67 enrollments. And then was going to say, if you just push it back to select, essentially think of that as all time. That's going to pull up any of those enrollment histories here. So it gives you the very basics of, again, what that student, what their grading metrics were, number of assignments completed versus total. Again, weeks is always, that's going to be our, semester courses. But that is what we have in terms of enrollment history there. So I'm going to pause and see if any questions, concerns, things like that came out of the enrollments history report. Okay. All right. Very good. Now going back to, again, some more ILVP data. Like I said, I wanted to touch on the current enrollments area. You can see I, instinctively went instead of enrollment history to that. So again, from your mentor program lead tab, schools area here, this is really the easiest way to see everyone all at once. Program leads, as you know, you see everyone, mentors, only those affiliated to you. So underneath academic, again, I think it's the second hyperlink, second or third for program leads, but only one for mentors is the current enrollments area here. And then you have that extensive search criteria, but good news, you do not need to pull down anything here. And then over here to the right, again, is the customized columns. So the ones that I have set up here now, in terms of the graphs, I like them visually, but if you are in the business of pulling these more as Excel spreadsheets all the time, then I would say use the values when you're choosing these particular data columns here. So just kind of starting, these are some of the suggested ones that we go with. But again, you have up to 40 each of, and let me click on customize columns, just as a reminder, each of these column drop downs, again, they have the same data options here. So if you do want to add in assignments total, assignments behind, assignments complete, while it won't, as you know in here, designate which assignment or assignments those behind ones are, you will be able to at least get that. You can see some of that data, see that number there. And I think go ahead and hit cancel. I did enter progress increase. Unfortunately, I don't have some great data for that, but I did want to talk about perhaps the benefits of using that. And you may already use these data columns too. But again, the basic ones, the active day count is always a great way to monitor and see those students that are, in their calendar grace period, those first 14 days of the course. The performance indicator column, just as a reminder, I go just here real quick to go over these. This is kind of the easiest way just to get that little visual snapshot of how your group of students is doing. And then again, who are those students of concern. So, you see this ongoing theme throughout the ILVP. The three main metrics that we're looking at always are going to be their engagement, which is their attendance, mastery, which again, regardless of your passing threshold grade, the system will flag them as a mastery concern if they are in that yellow caution light area, which is under 70%, and then 10% of at least 10% of the course complete. And then lastly, pacing again, 10%. And I know you're all familiar with this in the virtual world. That's kind of, that's where they're at that crossroad of, they might look to that dark forest and go down that path and keep falling behind. So that's, we kind of choose 10% to use that as that intervention mark there. So our teachers use this as an intervention piece as well. Naturally, with our teachers, they have students, we're on rolling enrollment. So, they're coming and going 365 essentially. But, again, at the beginning of the semesters, or, for your students or whenever they're starting, within that grace period, that's when you're really keeping your eye on any S4s and making sure that they are off to a strong start. But again, the red indicates that they're not quite there just yet. Naturally, on day one, they will all be red in their course. So you can see my student here, E is for attendance and then pacing. So she has an attendance and pacing concern in her ELA class, and then attendance in math. And then again, grade overall, that's the academic. Actual, naturally, is the grade based upon pacing, percent complete, and expected. So where are they? Where should they be? That in my brain, this order works. Like, where are they? Where should they be? You could even add in the pacing column here. So for my student, it would show negative and then the percent that they are behind pace there. We can see as far as active time on task in the class or in their classes, my student has not logged any active minutes, nor for the last 7 days. So yesterday, back through the previous 6, nor yesterday, clearly. Progress increase. This is something I've seen again more this year that schools and districts are starting to look at in conjunction with attendance minutes again, like when they are in there, how much progress are they making? Obviously this makes sense. They're not working, therefore no progress is happening. But that's another data piece again, that these, these columns essentially are working in tandem as well as these two together, the grading metrics together. Um, Adding in for sure wherever you want it, teacher and teacher email, and you can also add in their phone number as a column for ease of access. I always like bookending with the student for their on this table, so that way as I'm going back and forth, I can see. It makes it a little easier because instead of having to go back every time when I'm on this end of the report, I can see, when I'm looking at progress increase in this side, who the student is, and then naturally the data. Now the LMS link, so before I get to that, I will pause right here again just to show you as well. I'm gonna go pull up MJ's account. Just as a reminder, that's the group access. So mentors, everyone's schools tab, current enrollments area, mentors, you only see those that are affiliated with you. Program lead, you see everyone that has current active enrollments. When you're in individually, or the student's individual account, it's going to be under enrollments with current enrollments area here. So any edits that you make to the columns from the schools tab, again, are going to push down here. So that's nice. You don't have to redo that. Like I said, I like using the schools tab to see everybody. You can also use that enrollments area. As you know, that's where progress reports are to, whenever, and as a reminder that you're not seeing any data under the search criteria table. It's always kind of that rule of 2 or 3, at least district and school. And then if you see status, that would be active, which is not here. But some users like to use this particular area to look at the group. So this one gets ordered. For some reason, this enrollments area, it'll change, it'll sync when you use the schools tab with the individual student account, but enrollments, how you order this particular tab is different. It's a standalone. One of those ILVP mysteries I haven't quite figured out yet. But with that being said, since I'm here anyway, I don't have the LMS link. I'll go back to MJ's account. So I do encourage you all to put the LMS link, which also subsequently automatically lives here on the student's main page and under academic snapshot. So I would suggest this column to be in your current enrollments report. It's always here. That's a quick and easy way to grab it too. So it's a nice kind of little segue over to our LMS here. If you aren't already signed into the learning management system, our ImagineEdge, our classroom program, for a shorter explanation of what this is, it'll ask you to log in first. But again, it is essentially meant to be one less click, one more direct or a more direct way to get over to that particular student's account. So again, when you click on the LMS link, it's going to take you right to the student score overview page here. And then subsequently the student becomes that, I call them the golden child. And you can pull up those individual reports or actions. So the session log, of course, this is the more granular, specific, detailed attendance report. As you can see, I was in earlier this week and last week as well. Idle time. Now, I will say I wasn't just hanging out. Again, idle time isn't always necessarily that they've just logged in and are going to YouTube or TikTok or a different site. I was in previous lessons for this. So again, that active time is really picking up on when they are making progress. So they are going in to complete a lesson. They're turning in work when they are making forward progress. So that's also where, like I said, I think in the ILVP to have in that current enrollments report, to have that progress, those two progress increase columns too. So it's just another way to kind of vet, all right, that active time spending, how much progress are they actually making during that active time? So like I said, idle time, not necessarily always something negative, but something to keep an eye on if you're seeing, the same timeout, 20 minutes, exactly all the time. Um, but again, so view courses as well. When you view courses, this is where you can click on the little radio button for any course, grades area, and then that's where you can pull their course report. So this is really the truly living and breathing document that changes every millisecond. So anytime the student is completing work, making progress, it's going to, accessing an assessment, that is going to come up here. And again, with their specific grades, as you know, this is probably my favorite report of any of the systems here. Okay, so while we're in here, I did want to touch on guided notes and where to find them for your students. So if you haven't checked out this area, and I love using this, the Help Center under here. So the Help Center for students is great as well if you haven't directed them there, or even if one of the students is in and no harm, no foul, you want to log in as them and check out the Student Help Center too. But here, so the Help Center is really the easiest way that you can access. Here we go. Or guided notes. Now, this is comprehensive. So accessing the guided notes for a course, you'll see math, science. So it's going to be again for all of the core courses here. So when you click on that specific topic, again, over in the articles in this section, it's going to tie in any that are affiliated to this. You guys are not yet, and instructional services is not yet on EdgeX. EdgeX is going to be the new interface. I believe next school year is when we at school services will get to use it. But for right now, we're still with Imagine Edgenuity. Again, it's still obviously still will be our courseware and everything, but it's a more updated LMS. Although I think the Imagine Edgenuity one, that is pretty good in terms of LMSs. Okay, so with that being said, again, just by checking out the Help Center guided notes, accessing the guided notes for a course here, it does go through where you can access them. But if you are looking for, can I download guided notes in bulk? This is always a question that comes up. So this would be, like I said, from this particular article, accessing the guided notes. Let me put this in the chat for you all. You do have to be logged into your LMS account. So guided notes in bulk. There you go. Okay, so yes, you can. So this is, like I said, even on the Help Center, and I really appreciate how in-depth this Help Center is. It's sometimes you have to go, a couple more clicks to find everything. So that's why I like going accessing guided notes right here, and then ELA here. And then again, you will have, so there's some questions you may have, difference between student and teacher version, obviously. This is always a big question. Is there a way to print them all at once? Unfortunately not. However, when we go in here, so here the fillable guided notes guide, that's great. We have for ELA, non-fillable, so annotated versus the traditional way. I know they're working course by course, I believe, or subject by subject. Math was the first to get the fillable, so I'm glad to see here ELA has come up. So again, feel free, click on the teachers edition here. I believe it's going to be, not the extensions, hello, a zip file, and then you go into, so it will have the guided notes here. So again, unfortunately, no way to print this off as a whole, but let's go ahead and just pop one up here. So if you've ever seen, and I'm not sure, I know you ladies are more 612, but our K5 courses is kind of same premise. Their worksheets, the student worksheets, the warm-ups are essentially completed. I'm sorry, the teacher version is essentially the completed guided notes for the student. But good quick point of reference here. Okay, so like I said, I would go ahead and bookmark this page here. So that way you can get to, again, can I download the guided notes in bulk here? And that gives you the separate links to all of them. So again, like I said, still subject level specific. Like you can see, social studies yet doesn't have the annotated versions of them. And science may, we'll see. They do not either. So science and our science courses and social studies have not been updated yet with the annotated, the fillable ones, but ELA and math have been. So that is nice. Besides foundational math A and B, my apologies. So, okay. Let me pause right there and see if there are any questions about accessing the guided notes, or if you all have questions like for how do the students access them? Again, they are in their course, and I will log in as my demo student as well to show you. They're going to be under each blue bar in the upper right-hand corner, again, only for the core courses. No, they can see them. Great question. They can see them right from their course. They actually have the easiest way to access them. So you can, if you all wanted to, on your own time, take a snapshot and share that with accessing the guided notes. And I believe for the students, I'm going to go ahead and just show you live right now. So let me get out of here and exit my admin view here. Let me just log in as my demo student to show you all. So we'll skip ILVP for now. And then, okay, so when the students are in their, in the classroom program, the Imagine Edge LMS, before we get to that, I wanted to show you again, under their initials, here's the Help Center. So if you haven't had the students check this out, or again, you haven't checked this out yourself, please feel free to do so. So we have FAQs, we have video help here, supporting documents and resources for students, and also parents and guardians as well, locating their reports. Again, it's clicking to get to these, but this may be worth your time. Mentor, program lead, again, those in support, super important to kind of poke through here and see if you see anything student wise that we have created. So, student facing, as we would say, that you would like to use as is, or perhaps use as a basis, as you're building, student handbooks, essentially, things like that. Feel free feel free to check that out. So we got our video help here too. There's quite a bit of these. Again, we're not yet at edX, they're considering us heritage. But here you go. Like these will show down here. So actual grade, a little video, relative grade. I know we have overall grade. Again, like I said, not the edX ones just yet. Note-taking and academic success. So there's a lot of great resources here. And again, that's often overlooked, but, and I get it, with the students, they want to get right into their classes. And that's what our teachers are there for, is to help them too. But like I said, you may all want to poke around here and see, there's any that you like in particular that you want to share out, by all means, feel free to do so. Okay, so again, that's under here, Help Center. That's for the student specifically. Now, back to your question. Let me go ahead and go into my math class here. So for the students, the guided notes, and I'm just going to go all the way back up to the top, they are housed under the blue bars. So the blue bars in the courses themselves for the students designate when they are beginning a new lesson. And then each part of that lesson is subsequently underneath it. So here, again, so here's a second lesson. This is just, a math class. Like a lot of the classes typically will have this set up. There'll be 5 or 6 components to it. Warm up, instruction pieces, summary, assignment, quiz. But underneath this guy here, the little plus button, when you drop this down here, here's where the guided notes are for the students. So again, they are specific to each lesson. So when I pop this open here, it will pop open in a different window. And then again, for ELA and math classes, these will be fillable, or I like to call them annotated, that they can type their answer right into, this area, the areas here. And what is also nice about the guided notes too, again, they go along with each part of the lesson. So this particular page is for the warm up, also the second page warm up. Then this goes, the content here is pulling from the content for the instruction piece here. And then same, so instruction, summary. So, like I said, these are super helpful. They're not graded naturally by our teachers, but those in the mentor role, that's again, in support role, find these really helpful for the students. So if you're working with them and, you may want to use this as a remediation piece, our teachers may as well. So yeah, perfect. Thanks, Andrea. Yeah, and I was going to say, I'll pause right here if you all had any questions on accessing, anything like that, or anything you wanted to share in terms of guided notes.
No, it was very helpful seeing where they are for everybody on both ends. I completely forgot that little blue bar even opens up. So
Right, I know.
thank you.
You are very welcome. And then, like I said, that is it. Sometimes it's just, things tend to get hidden because there's a lot in terms of the functionalities. And again, with students, I personally kind of wish the default would be that these were just open automatically, so at least they would see them there, or even perhaps like the guided notes link, that might be something. And I'm sure
Yeah.
it's been suggested, but making
Make it more obvious for the students.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or hey, even a button here that has, yes, all the guided notes as a reminder, something else, but yeah, because it is hidden, it's kind of like the e-notes as well that the students can use. So good. I'm glad everybody knows guided notes were good. So I'm going to go into a piece that I've done before already, just to show you a couple other things, point these out again that can be overlooked. Chat, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, they're kind of the hidden gem there. They should be part of the start of the show. Chat with Tutor is down here. So when the students, and this is available, I'm not sure, let's take a look at, I'll go back into a quiz or assignment area. It's going to say they're in the assignment, and that's right. For assessment, so like a quiz, a test, the auto-graded ones, the Chat with Tutor does not come up for them. Naturally makes sense. But every other piece of a lesson, so it's not from their main page, it's not from their course report page here, but it is from any other piece, so warm-up, instruction, summary, assignment. So again, I'm just going back and clicking on to a piece that I have completed to show you. So, okay, so chat with tutor here, and then here is the platform Go Peer. So as you can see, again, I am identified as a middle school student and I am in a math class. And if I click chat now, I don't want to do this because I don't want to take another student's place in the queue, but they are going to be connected with our on-demand tutors. And again, they can share whiteboards, they can chat just using text, they microphone, screen share, again, whatever is, to the student's comfort level. That's, our tutors are very, very aware of that in terms of student privacy. A lot of the students come in here because they, don't that they're a little bit pensive to reach out to their teacher of record with our teachers, and that's fine too, or they might be shy too with you guys. So sometimes they just want to come in and maybe type a couple questions and then leave with the answers, and that's fine too. But yeah, definitely encourage them if they haven't tried it, like I said, to at least give it a try, and I'll put in that request to get you guys a report so at least you can see for at least this quarter how many students have used it. So that is there again, always accessible for them, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday. Those are the big times, and then the weekend hours as well. And then
Can I jump in? Can I go back to guided notes really quick again?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, absolutely. No
I just
problem.
wanted to say this out loud in case anybody's not looking at the chat, but the guided notes are a tier 1 strategy. So it's good that we're reviewing this. And then, actually I forgot what I was going to say now. Never mind. Hold that thought.
Okay. When you remember, jump in. I do that all the time. I'm like, oh, what was I going to say? It was good. So, excuse me. Yep, guided notes are there. And like, again, that's going to be for you all when you're in the LMS, that'll be in your help center. Just type in guided notes, and I put that link in the chat box as well. That's going to take you right to that main accessing the guided notes page. And then you can click that drop down, and that's easy way to get to the links for all of them. So, okay, excuse me. So let me go back. I'm just going to pick an instruction piece here. And again, another little hidden nugget is our eNotes area. The eNotes area does build an online notebook for the students. So if you have students that are struggling, or perhaps this is another intervention strategy, back in the day in my my brick and mortar classroom, I taught 2-column notes, but even when I started teaching online, also I incorporated different note-taking strategies. So this is, if you're looking for another strategy to implement, definitely encourage them or say, hey, we are going to use the eNotes area. And so anything that they type in here and take their notes gets built into their online notebook. Their online notebook, I'm going to go back to the course map. And then it is right here, the little page with the pencil. And whatever notes that they take, so it will break down the semester course. It's going to have, per unit, and then drop down will have each of the lessons. And then this was me just playing around to see if links are active, but they're not. Makes sense. Their notes will appear here, which then they can print off. Notes they can access on quizzes and tests as well. And again, because our test banks are fairly deep, I want to say 300 to 500%, they're not going to get that exact same question again. So I highly encourage the use of eNotes as another strategy as well. So, oh, okay, good. Andrea, go ahead.
Sorry. Thank you. It came back to me. So yeah, so if they pull, because I know you mentioned some of them are not fillable. So if it's
Right.
not fillable, that's where students can use that Kami app that we have to make it a fillable doc. So they can do it right on their computer screen.
Yes, thank you. Yep, I love Kami. Only Friday brain. I love it. Yeah, that's me too. I'm just like, whatever comes out of my mouth today, I hope it's okay because my brain is done for the week.
Apparently mine is too. It's okay.
Yeah. We're all there. We're all in this together, friends. So awesome. All right. So I think let me go back to my agenda. I believe we got pretty much everything covered. The oh, before I leave the student view, any other questions or some things stick out about the course, the classroom program from the student view that maybe you would like to see or just had a question about
I
while
had a
we're
quick question.
Sure, Kristen, go ahead.
One of my students brought it to my attention about when they log in and there's the little alert that says you have new feedback, and then you click view now, and it takes you down to like the assignment that has feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And we were clicking on the assignment and we couldn't actually find the feedback.
Oh, okay. Good question. Unfortunately, I know my demos do not have feedback to show you, but I will get you an example as part of my follow-up for that. Something that you can share with the students to show them where it is located.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, but great, bring that to my attention. Let me add that to my list. So student feedback example. And again, I'll share that out with everyone for that. Okay, great question. Anything else from the student view? Like I said, big fan of the course report. As you guys know, the students see that as well. They have, again, their attendance is going to be in their profile, no matter where they are, if they're in a course or if they're at their main dashboard page here, profile, attendance report. You know, so that's something too, if I like to use it as an empowerment tool for students and parents and communicating with each other. If parents and guardians are also curious about the time that their students have spent, they can ask them to pull this right from their classroom program at home. The only, like I said, in here, it's great because it is logging number of activities completed during that time. It'll list specific class, idle time versus active time. And let me go back here. However, you can only in here sort by that particular month range. So I'm just going to view today because I knew I had done some activities earlier this month. But this can, of course, be pulled as a PDF as well. So like I said, that's, you know, especially with secondary students, good to start, you know, having them really utilize those accountability tools. And again, kind of have that open communication, open dialogue. Okay. All right. I'm going to log out of here. And again, log back in. You know, when you log in as a student first into the ILVP again, anything that you're doing in here or looking around, this is not counted as any active minutes. You know, never time that you're in the ILVP or the students, parents, you know, is counted within that active minute count. That's always only when they're in their classroom program. Okay. And let me come back to my PowerPoint real quick. Just a couple other slides here. I just wanted to share. So, you know, this again, and forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but I think it's worth another share. I would talk about this every time I would meet with anyone. If we had time and we just have a little bit, we have some time. You know, chunking my time as an online teacher and then having been in the mentor role to myself, just was a lifesaver. And oftentimes, you know, I'd start chunking my time one way and then found I would revisit it, try it a different way, always looking to perfect that. But now as a PD trainer, I need to go back to this philosophy because I get involved in doing a lot of different things all at one time. And I'm finding that's less productive than when you chunk your time. So this is just an example kind of guidance, you know, regardless when you are focusing on that one task at a time or one group of students at a time in terms of progress monitoring, the students is super helpful. So this table just kind of goes along and it takes the performance indicators here and breaks it down into naturally students that are not making any progress at all. Those are ones you want to get to first. And then engagement. So students who have not logged any active attendance minutes for the last 7 days. You know, trying on a daily basis, definitely that's a hamster wheel. Sometime, you know, broadening your search for that 7+ days, you know, that is more feasible. You might want to do 5, or again, if you have found a system that works for you, absolutely, but whatever system works for you, definitely stick with it. Mastery, again, you know, comes to the students that are working, making progress, but perhaps struggling a bit, that their overall grade is under a 70%. Pacing, again, really those students that are 10% or more. You may even want to use that data in your current enrollments report, perhaps take a look at those that are 5 to 10%, you know, or 10 to 15%. And kind of, you know, what I found, especially with pacing, like, and with any of these, is kind of adjusting, like, where's that sweet spot where I tend to catch more of those students that, you know, may be just teetering on, maybe they're 9% you know, behind pace, but they're 9.96% and the system hasn't picked it up just yet. So, you know, again, sometimes you got to play around with that. And then, of course, like I said, never, and I, you know for a fact, you all do not forget those high performing students. I always like to put that towards the end of the week because, again, number one, I want to get with my kiddos that are meeting any of those performance indicators so I can set a plan with them early on in the week and then go back and check in with them later on. So that's just kind of my last parting thought here, you know, having a plan naturally, pacing plans using the, you know, the pre-generated pacing plan within the their courseware, their course program. That course report has that very first column is their pacing, and using that, you know, while it can seem a little overwhelming because it does pace out the entire course semester, you can really use that to break that down into manageable chunks for your students. um you know, revisiting your schedule, working with your students on you know, their schedules. So review steps and note taking, guided notes. So again, e-notes area, guided notes, or if you have, you know, any other note taking suggestions for the kiddos out there, by all means. You know, making sure that they know how to set up those one-on-one teacher meetings. And I'll go back actually just real quick to the student ILVP view in just a second. But encouraging maybe once a semester, or again, some of the students never want to meet via Zoom with the teachers, and that's okay. But at least knowing where that is and that they can request that, absolutely. And then, like I said, on-demand tutoring as well. So just real quick, let me go back here, pull up MJ again, log in as her. Okay, so underneath course information, this is where, again, the students in their view, the ILVP, excuse me, are going to see their current active courses. They will see a tab for each active course, their picture, their teacher's picture, and then under hours actually is where our teachers have that calendar booking link. But again, by no means should the students feel bound to the times and dates on the booking calendar. Like if they are just they really want to meet with the teacher, they don't see any upcoming dates and times that work for them, please encourage them to reach out to our teachers. Again, they can send a message, give them a phone call and just say, hey, is it possible to meet now? Or do you have any time today? Or, hey, you know, Friday at 2:15 really works for me, and I just want to meet for 15 minutes, whatever the case may be. You know, encourage them to reach out with that. So not to be defeated if it's their teacher's calendar doesn't have that exact date and time. So, okay. And that is it. Again, the help center is there in terms of ILVP, but I do want to share, I think I did with you guys, but always good as well. This is our getting started. Now I know you all are beyond the getting started point, in your learning of the ILVP and everything, but this essentially is our newer help page. And it does have, again, if you want to start to explore a little bit more, here's the enrollment. So just what we went over today, customizing current enrollments, the new report builder. I may have chatted with you all about, it's funny, it has been there for several years, not that it's new, but that's the title of it. It's great to build more specific report templates. And then again, some going deeper information here. So let me put that in here. And then I think that about sums us up. Anything else? Any other questions? Anything that you all had wanted to see or review? Okay. I think we're good. Andrea, anything else for you can think of?
There was one thing actually. Kim Wasil brought it up. It was
Yeah,
like the
I-
course. Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering, is there a way like to see the whole like course structure on the ILBP side? Like, like each lesson and the breakdown, kind of like you can see it on I feel like you can see it on the tutor side, but I don't know
Like
where
the
to
scope
find
and
that in our
sequence
teachers.
almost.
Yeah, there's in the LMS, you can see the scope and sequence. Any of that more
Yeah.
granular detail is not going to be for the courses, is not going to be in the ILVP. Unfortunately, it's going to be specific to the LMS. So I can show you all quick. Let me get back
Yeah,
into
can
the
you show us
LMS.
that?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, and I think, so to my understanding, just working with and on different student information systems and, in different LMSs, they do different but similar things. And maybe someday there'll be like some, and maybe there are other SISs out there that have that more granular detail, or that, easy to access it in here. But I haven't found the perfect combo yet. So, all right, so let me go back into our LMS.
And one of the reasons why this kind of came up too is because I have a student issue, an issue with the parent, and the parent saying the pacing of the algebra course is off. And it's like expecting way too much of the student. So that's why I kind of wanted to see, what is the, expectation of the whole course. And I didn't know where to find that.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, what you may be able, is it okay, Kim, if I just log in as you? I know we're amongst common
Sure.
friends. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that so we can kind of pull that up here. So I get some actually like real specific, meaningful data for you guys.
Yeah,
Other
that's
than just
good.
my
Do you
my
want,
demo.
are you going to pull up this actual student?
I don't have to pull up the actual student, but I can go into the LMS just to look at general course structures. But if you would like me to, I could. It is up to you.
Yeah, can you pull this student up? I mean, is that fine for me to have her do, like, with everyone on here?
Yeah, maybe just stop the recording.
Okay, gotcha. I was gonna ask about that. All right, so